TSU head coach Eddie George. The team played at Charleston Southern, came up short in that game. They got another road game. That's at Eastern Illinois, a team that is also two losses in the conference standings. So a big matchup for TSU. That's this weekend. Coach, thoughts on your team, and then we'll go to some questions.
Yeah, just a real disappointing loss to Charleston Southern. You look at the film, and you eliminate those mistakes, and you think the outcome could have been different. But for the mistakes that we did make earlier in the game, find a way to put ourselves in a position to win it in the end and come up short was very disappointing. But we're really encouraged by how our guys fought, the resilience that we put forth out there. We're definitely seeing some growth. But we can't allow ourselves to sit in a pity party for too long, because we have to go back on the road and yet again another hostile environment against a really good football team who's well coached, well disciplined, who's gotten better, and who's hungry. So it's going to be another great opportunity for us to grow and try to get better this week and try to find a way to get a victory.
Thanks, Coach. We had a couple people ready to ask you questions. We'll go Mike first and then Dan. Go ahead, Mike.
Eddie, on the one hand, it's a great compliment that you are still in the OVC hunt at this point, and especially were before Saturday. And also heading into Saturday, you were in a position for an at-large bid if you didn't win the OVC for the playoffs. How do you approach that with your team going forward after the loss? Do you even bring it up, or how much of the conversation is that involved?
No, it doesn't matter. What matters is at this point in time, especially coming off the loss, is to focus on, what we can control today. Not even worried about the Saturday, but what is our mindset approaching today? And that's winning today, coming out with great energy, be willing to take ownership of the mistakes we made and getting better and working through it, working through our disappointment. There were a lot of kids crying at the end of that game because it means so much to them, whereas a couple of years ago, I don't know if there was any tears. So the buy-in is definitely there. Now, the next phase for us is how do you work through the discouragement, the disappointment, and find the resolve to muster up the energy to go in and fight another battle, and let the outcome of the end of the season going to be what the outcome is going to be. I'm not going to get it caught into the arithmetic of the playoffs and who's into what. It doesn't matter. If we get to that point, we need to be battle ready. So it doesn't matter if we just barely get in or not. We've got to overcome some demons and find a way to win ball games. And if we're in it, we're in it. If we're not, we're not. And I'm perfectly fine with that. We want to be who we are, what our record indicates. And those are the things we have to work on going into the offseason and certainly moving forward as a team. So, no, it hasn't been discussed. We know what's out there for us, but there's still a lot more work that needs to be done internally for us to accomplish that.
A little bit of a follow-up, and it'll be my last one, but you got to be happy that there's still 2 games so that you can finish on an uptick. To have a little bit of a letdown like you had last week, not a little bit, but a letdown like you had last week, you still got a chance to finish this season with some momentum.
Yep, we got a chance to finish it off strong. And that's the key. And we want to finish with we got a winning record, but we want to build on that, build on our psyche, build on our confidence, and that's been the message. And again, we're not really too focused on what happens with conference and who goes where or what. This is a crazy game, and anything can happen in it, and we'll see where we're at.
Thanks.
We'll go next to Dan. He covers EIU, Coach. So Dan, go ahead with your questions.
Appreciate your time today, Coach. Eastern's defense has been very opportunistic this year, which I'm sure you and your staff have seen on tape. What has impressed you about them?
How they fly around to the ball. They play with a great deal of effort and tenacity and passion. They create opportunities, like you mentioned, on the defensive side. Whether it's turnovers, they create turnovers, and it's a bend but don't break mentality. They've been a lot of one-score games. This team is battle tested, and that's eye-opening, and it's really impressive when you watch it how they play the game. They play together. They have playmakers at every level on their defense. I love the linebackers, how they play with the patience and athleticism. They have a great knowledge of the game. They arrive at bad intentions. The secondary is well coached, and they play in unison. So, this is probably one of the better defenses that we've seen in quite some time, and it's going to be a challenge for us to be able to score points on this defense. It's going to be able to, for us to be able to move the football. We've got to be mindful of protecting the ball, especially after what happened last week in terms of our ball security. So that's going to be key and paramount for us.
Appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave.
Coach, both of your team, you and EIU, have had good seasons compared to the last few years. Any similarities in that, like where you and Coach Wilkerson are in building these programs on a similar time frame?
Yeah, I think I'm in year 3 years, and Coach Wilkerson's in year 2. He's getting the right bodies in the building. You can definitely see the discipline. You can see the mindset. You can see the buy-in, certainly from both teams, and the confidence. Again, you pop on the tape, against 2 of the top teams in the OVC. This team has played extremely well. I think a 1-score game in both games, and really all season long they've had 1-score games. And that's the impressive part. They're finding ways to win, and that's when you really look at a team and you see the growth is there, and he has the ship going in the right direction in a short period of time, and a couple more recruiting classes in his building. They're going to be a tough out, and they already are a tough out. So I'm really impressed by what he's been able to do so far.
Last question, we'll let you go. Is there one key area that your team can take advantage of, or you look to improve on it specifically against EIU this week?
Well, certainly is discipline for us, penalties, and protecting the football. And, we can protect the football and minimize our penalties. It gives us a chance to go out of there with the victory. This is going to be a classic OVC heavyweight fight, and something that we're used to seeing. Certainly that his staff in Eastern Illinois is used to seeing, and it's November football at its best. 2 really good teams fighting it out, and that's what you got to love about football. It's definitely a game that I would watch even if I wasn't coaching, because of what both teams have been able to accomplish this season. And on the road for us in a hostile environment, probably going to be in the 30s, sun shining and early start, and it's going to be an exciting ball game. For them, it's going to be senior day. For a lot of their seniors, are going to be mostly driven. So that's what you play the game for. That's what you coach the game for, is those type of opportunities.
Coach, appreciate your time this morning. Best of luck. We'll talk to you again next week.
Thank you.